limited? If you're looking for a new way to listen, it's time for a fresh start. Introducing the Live the Dream Media app, your premier destination and a new level up for digital radio. Over the last 2 years, we've found new ways to ensure your digital radio experience is the best it can possibly be. From live podcasts that spark new perspectives to a 24/7 soundtrack of live music, and even our built-in merch store, we've built a platform that is convenient, high quality, and simple to navigate. But we're only just getting started. Catch all of our shows weekly and join the Live the Dream Media family today and help us change the airwaves forever. Download it for free on the App Store or Play Store today. Live the dream. The dream starts now.
Your favorite radio just got bigger, bolder, and better connected. Live the Dream Media is revolutionizing how you stay tuned in. With our explosive growth in online radio and our brand new mobile app, your entertainment goes wherever you do. Stream your favorite shows, discover new hits, and connect with audiences across the digital landscape, all at your fingertips. Advertisers, don't miss out. Join our expanding digital network and reach engaged listeners across platforms. Download the Live the Dream Media app today and experience radio reimagined.
Thank you for tuning in to the Live the Dream Media Network. We've got an incredible slate of live podcasts waiting for you every week right here on our app. Get your morning started right with Wake Up, hosted by Christopher DeSimone, airing Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. The momentum continues every Monday morning at 9 with the Marana and Oro Valley Experience, hosted by David Samorano and Clint Peak, followed by Truth and Tell with Blair Lametti and Summer Smeaton at 10:30 a.m. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, join us at 9 a.m. for Southwest Flavor, and don't miss Sobriety, Spirituality, and Sales every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m., Bruce Ash brings you the inside track, and we wrap up the week every Friday at 9 a.m. with former NBA player Bob Elliott on The Bob Elliott Show. It's all happening live every week. Stay tuned, stay informed, and keep living the dream.
Hey everybody, it's Chris.
Hey, it's David Samorano.
Hey guys, it's Clint Peak over here.
Hi, I'm Blair Lametti Mathias.
And I'm Summer Smeaton.
Hey, I'm Ron Arenas.
And I'm Will Pena.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Curry.
And I'm Mike Bader.
Hi there, I'm Bruce Ash.
Hi, Ed Wilkinson here.
Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
We are Live the Dream Media. Watch and listen to all of our shows Monday through Friday, only on the Live the Dream Media Network.
Hey, you found us on your feed. Are you wondering what Live the Dream Media does? I'm going to explain it to you.
Guys, welcome. Now, this is episode 21. I said 21 last week, but this is definitely episode 21. We are here today at Live the Dream Studios with my co-host, Mike Bader. The show wouldn't exist without Mike, so Mike, thank you so much. If you need an insurance quote, please contact Mike Bader State Farm Agency, First and River. And we are welcoming a really special guest today, Lindsay Taylor.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You made the drive from Phoenix, so we really, really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to share your experience. And as you can see, I'm sitting. You may not see, but I'm sitting in the passenger seat over here. So I think this is going to be a special episode. Both Mike and Lindsay lost a son. And to an overdose. And so the strength and the courage that it takes to talk about that in public is incredible. And so I commend both of you guys. I don't know what that feels like. So that's why I'm sitting over here. I'm just going to let you guys have at it. Maybe pop in here and there just to say one little thing or two, but
kind of keep the flow going.
Whatever I got to do, I'll just eat my popcorn over here. And So, but welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Thank you
We actually had a pre-podcast.
We did. I mean, we pretty much started talking. We should have been recording. Now we have to start over.
Yeah, now we got to start.
Yeah.
And so you're originally from Colorado.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, from Colorado. We moved to Arizona 10 years ago almost. So we've been here quite a while now.
And you have
4 kids.
4 kids, okay.
Yeah, so the son we lost is Alex. He's the oldest of 4. He would be 22. Then we have a 19-year-old son, 12-year-old daughter, and 7-year-old daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and your husband stay pretty busy then.
Oh my gosh, so busy. Yeah, if you know mom life and dad life. It's the busy life, and it's also the most rewarding, right?
That's incredible.
It is with kids and then with everything that you're doing on
Yeah.
top of that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so
Your many hats that you wear.
I was just telling them I'm trying to pare it down, I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm a therapist. So right now I do work in the clinical field. I was sharing before the podcast, my specialty is treating individuals struggling with suicidal ideation. But I say, like, the first book I wrote, I'm all about helping people with suicidal ideation, addiction, grief, and life's deepest challenges. Just like the real heavy battles that we face in life. I feel like that's what God has called me to help. And so I have felt led, though, in the last year to move beyond the clinical space, beyond the 4 walls of a therapy room, and help people beyond that. And so I am venturing more into the coaching realm, starting a community called Freedom Soul Soldier. I've written a couple books, so that's kept me busy. And what else have I done? It was part of the filming for a TV show. Started a clothing brand, but I'm shifting a little bit on that. I'm shifting it to a jewelry brand. So yeah, I don't know. Wearing so many hats professionally, but also walking this road personally.
Did you bring some books?
I did. I brought them. I was going to give you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Amazing.
you guys get a copy,
Thank
but
you.
I don't know if they can see it.
Yeah, show it to the camera.
So that's the first book, The Rise of a Soul Soldier. So this all came, it was a very powerful God moment for sure. I was sitting with my publisher, and she was reading through the first few chapters of my book. And it was the first time, first of all, it's so odd when somebody reads your own words out loud to you. That was interesting. And so she was reading it to me, and she's just sobbing through the chapter about Alex. And she gets to the end of that chapter, and she said, "Lindsay, I can't believe that you're still standing. And not only are you still standing, but you are returning to the battlefield every day, sitting with people in the darkness. So you've walked your own, and here you are sitting with people every day and their own struggles and the deepest depths of cave." This has kind of a cave theme to it with the chapters. She said most people couldn't do that, and it would be easier to do something else. And so she said, "I see you." And that was the first time that I had felt seen too, really seen. And I had this whole download come over me of, you are a soldier on my battlefield to bring light to the darkest corners of the world. And so that's where The Rise of a Soul Soldier came from. Yeah.
And when did Alex pass?
May 9th, 2021. It was Mother's Day that year.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that came in that you wrote that book, 3 years later or 4 years?
Yes. What was it? 2024. So yeah. 3 years later. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I think, when we were talking beforehand, that's, my son died July 26th last year. And trying to get through it, process everything. I guess that's just the hardest part every day, trying to figure out what your purpose is. And how'd you go through all that?
Ugh. It's a journey, this is the other thing. I was working with kids who were literally struggling with the very things that my son was struggling with, right? So, and then helping parents, walking alongside them. And here I am living it very personally, right? And so it was so odd because I had this moment right before Alex passed away where I thought, how can I help all these families and not help my own kid? And so I had already been experiencing a lot of just sadness around and feeling almost inadequate in some ways, right? How am I doing this work and yet my son is struggling with these same things? And really what it revealed to me is obviously no one's immune, right? And just because I'm in this field and I have all these tools and all these skills, I didn't even know. I had all this stuff and I didn't even know how to help my own son. And so But what that revealed to me is none of us are immune. And so so part of my story is I was working with a student. I was working at a high school at the time as the school social worker. And I was helping many students who were struggling with suicidal ideation. This was like a year, past COVID. Tons of kids, like mental health issues were on the rise, right? And so one student in particular, though, I had been working with him really closely. He had 3 prior suicide attempts. I share about it in the book. But on May 2nd, I would get the call that he died by suicide. And exactly 7 days later was when we got the call that our son had been brought in to the hospital and had no pulse. And so it was 7 days apart of like walking through this deep loss professionally. It was like the hardest week to date in my career. Like I'm helping the community processing the grief. It was so shocking to the whole community. And then here I am facing like my greatest loss. And so that time was, I don't know, it was a lot to say the least. So to answer your question, like I took like a month off, but then like I jumped right back in to like pouring into helping others. And honestly, I think that saved me in many ways.
Yeah.
But to your point, actually, I don't think we had talked about this live yet. This was one of our pre-conversations. God reached me in a really profound way just before Alex passed away, and I share about that in the book. And I will say that is what saved me, and that is what held me, and that is what changed the trajectory of my grief and helped me through, especially that first year where it's just so numbing, confusing, trying to make sense of it. What's my purpose? Exactly. Like I relate to all of that, and so God is what ultimately was the savior.
And that's kind of been my experience. Is a month after he passed, it was, what am I going to do now? Yeah. What is my purpose? What is all this about? And, I grew up Catholic, and really the thought of organized religion just wasn't, I just wasn't into the whole control the masses. But, with that, delving into YouTube, different videos, and just hearing about everybody's personal experience, I mean, it just opened up this portal for me that I was like, wow, it brought a lot of peace when you start when I tapped into the spirituality of everything and knowing that there is so much more than this and there's a purpose for everything. Yeah. Selfishly, I'm pretty upset with it all, but, and it's kind of like what you were saying beforehand, for the last 15 years in business, 20 years, I felt like a robot, you're just providing, you're making money and you're accumulating, and it's like, what is this all about? Is this it? So it was really, it's horrible to have to go through such a personal loss like that to open up your mind and your soul to what God's about.
Yeah.
And what's out there.
Well, and you will relate to this. My husband and I always say there was life before Alex passed away and life after.
Yeah.
I feel like they're 2 different lives. Like I will never be the same. It completely changed me, shifted me, even my whole down to the priorities, like you said. It made me look at my own mortality, right? Like when I'm on my deathbed, what's going to matter? And it's not my career, what I did. Like I love what I do, and that's a huge piece of, I think it's, part of why God has me here. But what's going to matter is God and my family. And so if those two things aren't first, right, then nothing else ultimately matters. And so it really puts life in a different lens. It did for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Giving back. That's, I think a meditation that I did this morning, it was just, what do you have gratitude about? And there is so much that everybody should be thankful for. And it's just, we get in our heads and we think about all the stuff that's not right, and none of it matters.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Just the everyday worries that people have. But giving back to society and helping people, be the best that they can, be at a higher vibration, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
That's really what has brought me a lot of peace.
And gratitude, you hit on I think we underestimate the power of gratitude. And I think I want to like acknowledge this. I think it's really hard when you're in the depths of like the deepest, darkest cave, right? And struggle. Like it's hard to be grateful. Like if somebody says like, you have so much to be grateful for, you want to punch them, right? When you're like at your lowest.
Yeah.
So I get that. But what I will say is gratitude shifts everything because we cannot be in lack and abundance at the same time. And gratitude keeps us in that higher vibrational of like, no matter what happens, there is something to be grateful for. And I think there's a song. Have you heard Toby Mac? He's a Christian artist. I came across him months after, actually maybe almost a year.
Son.
He did. And it was actually maybe almost a year. I had never heard of him and I didn't know his story, but I came across this song by him. He lost his son to fentanyl, 21, I believe he was. And it's called 21 Years. So yes, he was 21 years. That's the name of the song. Have you heard that?
I have not.
Oh, you have.
Gotta listen to it.
Immediately on the way home. Yes.
Toby Mac.
He's a
Toby
great
Mac.
artist. He has great music.
Yeah.
I love it.
So the very last line of that song, in fact, I listened to it on the way here. I always listen to it when I'm about to talk about Alex. The very ending lyrics say, 21 years makes a man full grown. 21 years, what a beautiful loan. 21 years, I loved everyone. Thank you, Lord, for my beautiful son.
Wow.
And that, like, it shifted things for me where I realized this life is loaned to us. And like our children are not ultimately ours and we all have our time. And what a gift to have had 21 years, right? And so in my mind, I say 17 years makes a boy full grown. 17 years, what a beautiful loan. 17 years, I loved everyone. Thank you, Lord, for my beautiful son. And that's just truly changed me as well.
Oh, that's
to see
beautiful.
It that way.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how and that's kind of how I've tried to, not try, but what I'm grateful for is because he was such a beautiful human being and to have that for 21 years.
Exactly.
We're actually doing a sober walk in memory of Mike's son on April 19th. For anybody who's out there that wants to join us, it's at Sabino Canyon, 9 a.m. It's going to be a hot one more than likely, but we're going to make it happen. We're just looking to have our own community here to support people that are, in active addiction, active alcoholism, sober curious, wherever they're at on their journey. So we're excited about that. And I was fortunate enough to know Jack for about 4 or 5 months, and he made a huge impact in my life in that short period of time.
When did he did a sober walk?
He did. So this is actually, I don't know if you saw my post.
No.
So he actually created this, and so I was in sales. I did, I'd market myself on social media, and I was really taken aback that he took the initiative. We would walk at Sabino Canyon, which is a beautiful place just in nature here in town. And so he created this ad, and he got like 6 people or 7 people to come out the very first week. So that is his ad. This is Jack's ad that he created.
Gosh.
For anybody that, again, wants to come out the 19th to support people in the community here. And so I just changed the date on it.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so that's actually his ad.
Cool.
I just copied and pasted off his Instagram.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, the 19th.
Yeah.
That's near here?
It is. Sabino Canyon. Have you ever been?
No.
It's east.
No. Okay.
You've never been to Sabino Canyon?
No.
You got to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to look at that. Is that a Saturday?
It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to look at that.
It's kind of last minute. If you can come, great. Or if you know anybody here in town.
Yeah. Yeah. So. I would love to. Wow. I share about this in the book, but I think, so to your point about meditation and like we were talking about spirituality and organized religion and, the faith is a huge topic, right? Sure. So what's interesting is my husband really didn't have any faith background. And so he ultimately had this very profound experience, but went down more of a spiritual meditation. Like that's been big on his journey. For me, God, I'll just briefly share the story because I think it really matters. God, like right before, 3 weeks before, it was like mid-April, I was randomly at the gym one day. My fitness trainer was training me. This is a guy who does not have deep conversations. Okay, so the fact that God used this person of all people was hilarious. And all of a sudden he starts talking to me about spirituality, and he's asking me what I think or what I believe. And I grew up in the church, a Lutheran church. So when you said you were like Catholic, it's very similar. And what happened was in my early 20s, or actually late teens, I felt like God was bigger than any one religion. And so I veered away from the church because of that. And ultimately what happened though was I lost my relationship with God and Jesus altogether in that veering away. Yeah. So I never didn't believe, but I just totally went my life not paying attention. And so he starts asking me, I'm telling him, he's sharing that he joined this group called Alpha, which is like a group to people that are newer to Christianity, explore life's biggest questions. Is there a God? Who is God? That sort of stuff. And he's all of a sudden starts rather adamantly like encouraging me to join this group. He's like, you should do it. You should. And I was just kind of like, no, I think I'm good. I'm good. Like he really had to nudge me. I was like, I'm not searching or seeking. Like I feel fine.
Sure.
I'm good with where I'm at, life is cruising, or so we think. And so anyway, he nudged me in that, and finally I felt the nudge. And so if I feel like an internal nudge, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I said, okay, fine, I'll try it. So I show up the next week. 2 weeks later would be when we got the call about my son, and then in between this time, I have to share this piece because it's really wild. I had an intern at the high school at the time, and she came in and was telling me about this psychic medium appointment she had, okay? And I was kind of like, I don't even know what I think about that either, right? But she's sharing this experience, how profound it was. She's like, Lindsay, you should really go see this guy, because I had lost a friend to suicide a couple years prior to that. So that's why she was telling me. She knew that there was a lot of unanswered questions. So she said, you should go see this guy. And I was kind of like, I think I'm good, But as she's talking, I got that nudge. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to text him right now. So it was like a very impulsive text to the guy, set up an appointment. Dates are really important here. So this is April 29th. I set up the appointment with this guy for May 5th, 2021. So May 2nd is when I get the call about my student. So almost like immediately when I got that call, I couldn't believe, like I instantly felt the divine timing of like, I'm just going through this loss and I'm about to go see like a psychic medium. Like that felt odd. I almost canceled the appointment because like I said, the week was chaos. I was in deep grief myself. Something told me to keep it. May 5th, I go see this guy. It was virtual. And he said so many mind-blowing things, but I'm just going to skip to some of the really important things. He first of all said, are you going to specialize in treating individuals who are suicidal? And at the time, I was obviously working with people who were, I didn't know it was a specialty. I didn't realize like you could specialize in that. So that was odd. And then, because that would point to my future work. And then he said, what's the deal with the rainbow? I said, I have no idea. And he goes, what does a rainbow mean to you? I said, hope. And he said, okay, there's something really strong with the rainbow. You need to pay attention to it. He brought up the rainbow again at the very end of the call. He's like, there is something with the rainbow. Pay attention to it. The next day, he randomly texted me something about a rainbow. I mean, that was like reoccurring. My husband was completely skeptical, but I had recorded it, so I had him at least listen to it, so he knew that what had happened in the conversation. Okay, fast forward. The one other key thing that he said to me was at one point he said, they're saying it comes in threes. He had already called out that I lost my friend, my student. When he said that, I instantly got like this sinking feeling in my gut that he was talking about my son, because I knew the situation that we were in with him. So that was like really unsettling. Okay, fast forward 3 days, we get this call, and I like can't believe it. I'm like, I thought about that appointment. So we're laying in the ICU room. They had to airlift him to Phoenix Children's Hospital because he was still 17. They couldn't treat him at Chandler. So we're waiting in the room. They're trying to stabilize him. We're waiting in the waiting room. And all of a sudden, my husband goes, oh my God, Lindsay, look up at the window. And the way he said it was like eerie, and we're on edge. And I'm kind of like, I hesitate. I look at him. He's like, look up at the window. And I look up, and across the window, it says #look for the rainbow. And I don't know how to describe it to you, but like a sense of peace washed over me for just a moment. And it was like instantly in that moment, I had this thought of there's so much more to our stories beyond our human comprehension, to all our lives and stories. And that really held us like through the darkest day. And then the very next night, my son went to tuck our oldest Austin into bed. and he pulled back his covers, and there's a little piece of paper laying in Austin's bed that says rainbow. And my kids have no clue the significance. So Matt's like, where did this come from? And Austin's like, I don't know. It looks like Ari was writing her colors. It was written in crayon. And that little piece of paper somehow ended up in Austin's bed that night. 2 weeks later was his high school graduation. And he had actually finished his credits before he passed. And so he was set to graduate. That was completely devastating and so hard. We attended because I was like, I'm not going to go.
Sure.
But the next day I was completely feeling just broken, heartbroken. I get out of the car, I turn the corner, the car next to me has a big rainbow sticker in the back of it. So that entire first year, the only time I saw anything associated with a rainbow or an actual rainbow was all in moments of significance related to Alex. So going to the topic of that's where I say, and then the whole, I didn't realize that alpha group that I joined would become everything I didn't know I needed. And I'm telling you, God just like pursued me so hard. And the signs that came and just this, it was really shown to me that there is something far beyond our human comprehension to all our lives and stories. And this purpose to pain was really revealed to me through that time. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
We kind of have our own story, like not as amazing as that.
Yeah.
But so the night that Jack passed, Katie, Mike's wife, called me and said, this is what happened. And what's crazy is I had actually told Mike that I was like, he's going to pass. Only because I knew what he was dabbling in was like super dangerous, right? And so like when she told me, it's like it hit me like a wall, but also I wasn't surprised. And I'm a numbers guy. I've been, synchronicities, I follow patterns and things like that. And I've been seeing 1111 forever.
Oh, same.
Right?
Same. Me and my husband text each other. He has it tattooed too.
Yeah. And so we're in Colorado about a week after he passes. I'm reflecting. It's been a long day. We're going to this concert in the morning. I'm sitting out on the edge of a river, and it's a full moon. Night before the full moon, August 7th. And I'm on my phone, and I'm thinking about Jack. And I'm looking, like, when's the last time he called me? Because there was discussions on, like, well, what was happening and things like that. The last time he called me was 11:11.
Oh, my God.
And so I start trembling and crying. And then I look it up because I knew it was an angel number.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, so you're going to start to see white butterflies. These are things. So the next day we go to a healing center in Carbondale, Colorado. And guess what I see everywhere? White butterflies.
Wow.
And I talked to both Jack's mom and Mike, and they were both seeing 11:11. Like, he's like, yeah, dude, it's weird. I'm just seeing this.
It's like every night now.
So it's like he's
my phone 11:11.
So every time I see it, I just say, "What's up, Jack?" He's checking in.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh, the 11:11 thing. So my husband saw that for years, and he was always telling me when he would see it. I never saw it ever. When Alex passed away, we both see it. We'll literally every time we see it, we'll either say it out loud if we're together or text each other. It's wow. That is incredible though. Wow.
Yeah. So to me, it was like his presence was here. Yeah. And then that night that he passed, I ended up going to Oregano's to get coffee, to get Italian food. And somehow they have fortune cookies there. So I got a fortune.
At Oregano's?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. So I opened the fortune up, and it says something to the effect of, "He is here with you." And it just again, like, came over me like, yes, it's very sad, and I can't imagine, what Mike and his family's going through. But at the same time, because of my personal experiences and everything that I've gone through, and the way I destroyed my life and luckily didn't die, like, I have a totally different, like, to me, that's the spiritual awakening, a perception shift.
Yes.
Understanding things that you had no clue of before, and what is life really about, and what is really a big deal and what isn't a big deal.
Correct.
Yeah, puts so much in perspective. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. I love that. Yeah. And
if, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've had your struggles and certain health challenges in your lifetime too, that you've overcame.
Yeah. So I talk about this in my second book. This is the second book. It's called Plot Twist.
Okay.
Plot Twist, The Freedom You Never Saw Coming. So this book, was a part of the TV filming. It's called Writer's Island. It'll be coming out. They don't even know when, hopefully soon. But when I sat down to even pray about like, what does the next book need to be? Again, it was a really profound experience, but God ultimately revealed, I have a heart for those in actual prison. Okay. So let me start there. Like my deepest, just this gift God gave me is to see people that society writes off. So like, I want to go sit with people on the streets, like people in prisons. Like that's just like, I would be so happy the rest of my life if I could just do that work. And so I originally thought that I wanted to write to those in prison specifically. As I started to sit down in prayer with the book, God revealed to me that we're all prisoners to something, usually many things. So whether it's mental, and you could go down the list of all the different mental things, shame, all the things, circumstantial, financial, relational, addictions, behavioral, like it's literally, we are all stuck and bound by things in life, usually many things. And so the whole heart of this book is how to break free. And this shares my faith journey. Jesus is at the center of it, but it's not a religious book. I make that very clear, that Jesus actually didn't come to start a religion. He came to be in relationship with people. And so you can know Jesus outside of religion.
Wow.
And so I say this is a spirit-led soul help book. It's not a religious book. But anyway, so where was I going with that? My challenges, yeah. So the very first time I was bound or stuck in something, so actually, as a kid, I was diagnosed with severe OCD, so obsessive compulsive disorder. It was so bad. My sister used to get migraines. If she touched me, I was afraid I was going to get a migraine, so I'd have to do all these weird tie and untie my shoe, open and like all these weird, very, very typical OCD behaviors.
Like the movie As Good as It Gets?
It was really like the severe case. Yes, it really was. It was like legit clinical OCD. People would be like, oh, I'm so OCD because they're organized. No, I'm talking like this is like the really, really serious, yeah. So anyway, I couple years went through that, and ultimately I saw a child psychologist at the time and was able to like work through it, no medication. So went through that, and then in my early 20s, I had this experience where it's so random. I got off the elevator and I got really dizzy. Everything started spinning and my brain latched to that. And from that moment forward, I was afraid of passing out. So I developed this, it's called agoraphobia, which is like basically you're afraid to leave your house, and panic disorder. And I dealt with that for 2 years. And so I talk about those in my book, like I've dealt with like mental prisons, right? Like feeling like a prisoner in my own mind. But then I was diagnosed with a muscle deteriorating condition. I don't know if that's what you were referring to. Is that?
I just know you had written on, a couple different topics.
Okay. Yeah. So most people, that's ironic because I'm in like the bodybuilding world. And, but when I was diagnosed at 22, the doctors told me that I would likely need braces to help me walk by the time I was in my 30s.
Oh, wow.
It's progressive over your lifetime. There's no cure. And so I remember asking like, will diet or exercise help? And they're like, no, it's an issue with the nerves. I have a duplicated gene that eats away at the protective layer around your nerve. So they're like, it won't do anything to, build the muscle. But I think they were really wrong because I ultimately was like, I'm not going to become a victim to this diagnosis. Like I laid in bed for 3 days and felt sorry for myself. And then I was like, I'm not going to become a victim to this. But imagining a life of not being able to walk was scary to me at 22.
Oh, gosh,
But now at almost 38, I'm walking without braces, building muscle, and so, so I have walked some of my own battles, if you will, prisons, right? Things that have tried to keep me bound and stuck. And then obviously the grief is, I've lost so many people at this point, suicide, addiction, overdose alone. I lost my brother, Alex, and then my uncle, my mom's brother, and then suicide, a couple different people.
Well, let's get into that a little bit more when we come back from our break. We're going to take a break from our sponsor, Mike Bader. And if you are somebody who's a business owner who has your own struggles currently, and you're self-sabotaging and alcohol has more control over you than you have over it, please feel free to reach out to my website, schedule a time to talk. I would love to have an honest conversation with you, and we'll be right back.
What matters most to you? Protecting your family, your home, your car, or planning for the future? State Farm makes it simple to protect what matters most. Agent Michael J. Bader is here in your community to guide you through every step, making sure you get the protection you need without the hassle. Whether it's auto, home, life, or business insurance, Michael J. Bader can help you find the right plan today. Call 520-878-0098 or email michael@baderagency.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
So what
Hey, you found us on your feed. Are you wondering what Live the Dream Media does? I'm going to explain it to you. Let's go. First and foremost, Live the Dream Media is a premier digital advertising and marketing agency, but that's not all we do. We have also become one of the largest live streaming podcast platforms in the region with our own online radio station and more on the way. Here's the coolest part. Right now, I'm standing in Studio B, where we are getting ready to put together an awesome state-of-the-art studio to continue the growth of this platform. One of the coolest things about Live the Dream Media is we take pride in being flexible. We enjoy the ability to make changes on the fly. If Live the Dream Media is a company you feel interested in working with and want to enjoy the flexibility and all we have to offer with our new podcasting network and our digital advertising abilities, reach out to us at contact@ltdmedia.net. Visit our website, livethedreammedia.com, or check us out on social media.
Hey everybody, it's Chris.
Hey, it's David Samarano.
Hey guys, it's Clint Pink over here.
Hi, I'm Blair Lametti Matthias.
And I'm Summer Smeaton.
Hey, I'm Ron Arenas.
And I'm Will Pena.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Curry.
And I'm Mike Bader.
Hi there, I'm Bruce Ash.
Hi, Eb Wilkinson here.
Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
We are Live the Dream Media. Watch and listen to all of our shows Monday through Friday, only on the Live the Dream Media Network.
All right, guys, welcome back to Sobriety, Spirituality, and Sales, episode 21. We're here with Mike and Lindsay. We were knee-deep in some just incredible, powerful conversations. And you're touching on being led by Spirit, being led by God, being led to, and I agree, I think, with what you're saying, which is when I had my spiritual awakening, what was brought to my attention, not only by my guide, the person I worked with to show me a spiritual path, but through God, is that if God is either everything or he's nothing, what do you choose him to be? Because you can't say he's the rich guy, but he's not the homeless guy. You can't say he's this and that, right? And so if he's everybody and he's everything, then, the way I view it is God talks to me through people. I don't get a lot of visions. I know people have their own spiritual gifts and things like that, but God talks through people to me. And when I hear those, and I mentioned patterns before, when I hear people telling me the same thing over and over, my ears perk up because I'm like, gosh, God's trying to tell me something.
Okay,
here.
God, I hear you.
It's almost like I was listening to Dolores Cannon.
Okay.
And that's what she said. She said, we're just cells of God. And we're all, vibrating. We're learning. We're energy. And when our time is up, we all go back to our maker. So we're all part of God. Everything is.
Yeah. I mean, the flag, the camera, I mean, everything is made from this earth in one way or another. And so that I try and keep in perspective. And especially when I'm talking with people or I'm put in situations or I hear someone's like, you should really read this book. And then the next day someone will say, hey, have you heard of this book? And I'm like, okay, God.
Yes. Yes. I call them God moments or God shots. It's incredible. When you keep your heart open, God wants to work in and through you.
Absolutely. When you're open to it, right?
You're open to it. Yeah. When you're not, like I said, I went all those years. I know God was doing work through me. I just wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't aware of it.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. So what I'm interested in, and maybe this is what we'll get into, what you were just referring to. So you do this other work. You have a heart for people that are in situations that aren't ideal. You obviously had that prior to any of these incidences, but how satisfying is that work and how healing is that work for you? Because you mentioned just before we took a break, lost your brother, your son, other people. You've dealt with grief your whole life, and who better to help other people, coach people through their grief than yourself? But how does that, how are you able to conduct business, to make money for your family, to continue life? Like you said, there was life before Alex, and now there's life after. So doing all these things, and I know you kind of got your hand in a bunch of areas, is that soothing for you? Is that healing for you? I mean, do you find yourself maybe running too much sometimes and then you kind of got to step back? Or is that something that you just have gone full into?
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah, no, and just this last year, I've had a huge spiritual awakening, if you will, of realizing that I had a ton of perfectionist tendencies and striving for things. And I realized that and there's a podcast out there. I highly recommend people listen to it. Mel Robbins did it with a guy named Dr. Zach Bush. He talks about how we are all whole. And I had this, God really revealed to me this last year that we spend our whole lives, he's a hospice doctor, and he had his own near-death experience.
I actually follow his, I love his stuff. He has such a great perspective. Yeah.
Yes. So that
very holistic doctor.
Yes, he is. Yeah. And he's more just a spiritual guy. He doesn't subscribe to any religion, but he talked about how we spend our whole lives performing, striving, right? And he's like, what you see at the end of life is the veil starts to lift. And people are like, I've been enough the whole time. Like I've been whole the whole time. So he's like, we are already enough, already whole every day that we start the day. And so to your point about, yes, like I have had to realize the areas where I was striving, where I was going too hard. What was I trying to prove? What was I seeking? Right. And so that's been part of my stepping back from my role as the clinical director at the Suicide Treatment Center, which we talked about before this. Part of that was I realized that I was just pouring so much in to prove that I was enough and I'm already like, and I really want to follow the path that God has for me, because the two most important things is God and my family, not proving anything. Exactly. So yes, I've had to like find that balance, but my heart, part of the gift is that like, I do feel like God has given me just a heart for so many different areas, but yet they're all similar. So like I said, I have a heart for those in prison, those on the streets, but also those struggling with like suicidal ideation, which they all link in some way. Addiction, they all have common threads, right? But they are different populations or pockets that you would work with them, right? Like right now I'm in the clinical mental health setting. So that's been hard, like narrowing it down, some of what I feel like God has for me, like my gift. But what I will say, something that's been revealed to me over my lifetime. So I always say this too, if there's such things as past lives, I must have been an addict, because I am the most sober person I know personally in this life. Like I have never struggled personally with addiction, but I've been surrounded by it professionally, personally, right? And so it's been something I've been very deeply, I've felt very deeply and been ingrained in, but just personally have not faced that battle. But I have sat in NA meetings, AA meetings, just with clients, with even Alex when he had to go through a diversion program. And what was so interesting was when I sat in those spaces, I felt no different than everybody there. Like the stuff that they were describing and the struggles they were having, I was like, this is called being human. Like I really deeply, so at the root of everything I do, like I really feel our shared humanity. Like we might have different paths, different stories. Those in prison, like, okay, yeah, I've never been to prison. Like I can't relate to that, but like you're a human just like I am. You face battles just like I have. And that doesn't take away from like the different types of battles that people face. But it just like is this common thread that none of us get through this life unscathed. And so when I sat with those people, and I will say, like when you're in NA spaces, AA spaces, like people are cracked wide open. Like there's some of the most vulnerable spaces I've sat in, and I'm just so moved when I listen to people like share like the broken pieces, like that is like where my heart is, like that true, authentic, like human to human, super vulnerable. I don't like to talk about the weather, and so.
Yeah, what's really going on. Yeah. There's a really powerful video I saw recently of a guy talking about AA and how Christian authors have studied AA, and they're trying to figure out how they have this huge movement where nobody's really in charge. It's ran by people in AA, right? And how are people, getting through alcoholism and addiction? And he made an example of going into a church, and people go upstairs in the church to hear about miracles, but they go downstairs in the church in the basement, because that's where AA meetings are, to see the miracles. Oh, and he just talked about if Christians could just chase, like in such an authentic way, Christ, God in their heart, and stop the charade, stop wearing the mask, and just be so just authentic with their troubles. And, as a kid, I would look around and be like, these people are so normal. Yeah. Well, no, they just really hide it better than anybody else. Exactly. But at some point, it's going to go against you. 100%. At some point in your life, it will go against you.
Yes. None of us, let's be honest, none of us have it all together, at all. And that's what I really felt like. So and on that line, with those in prison, I think I have to be careful when I share this. I'm like, oh, should I share this here? There is people that society writes off, rightfully so, because of the crimes they've committed, right? And so it's really hard for us to wrap our heads around that sometimes. Like, why would somebody, like, for example, child molesters, right? Like, that's a really heavy, hefty crime, and it has and I can't imagine, like, if that were to happen to my child, right? And so God is a just God himself, right? And so we let the justice system take care of it. And so I'm not saying like it's okay or it's right by any means, right? Like they need to face their consequences and not be on the streets, right? Like harming other people. And also at that same time, if we say God is for us, God is for them too. So going back to like what you said, and so I have a deep heart for seeing them too, right? They are not beyond being saved, if that's how you want to call it, but they are not beyond God's love and grace, just like you and I. So going back to that shared humanity piece, like that is, I don't know, just a huge piece of what God has put on my heart and why I want to go into those spaces to share the love and light of Christ, because he's for everyone.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
And so that's the work. That's where I'm heading in my work to your question. Like I am in the clinical space and I love it. And I think therapy has its time and its place. And I feel like God is calling me beyond the four walls of the therapy room to go to the streets, to go to the prisons, to do coaching groups where I can reach more people in like more of a group setting. Yeah. So that's where God's leading me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not somebody that can quote the Bible. I'm not that good.
Yeah.
I can't really quote the A book. I mean, I know a bunch of stuff, but what I do know is that Jesus washed people's feet, that he sat with prostitutes, that he did this. And I think a lot of times, even myself, like I can get in judgment just as easily as the next person. I mean, heck, I used to be homeless, and sometimes I'm like, look at this homeless guy right here.
Yeah.
He wants money from me, and that, one of the most difficult things is to totally be present to life. For me, being in sales for so long, and this is kind of the point of my show, which, first of all, I'm so glad you came on. This has been probably the most powerful show we've had, besides our first episode, I think. But I always knew in business when I was really doing well, that's when I said I was the most spiritually fit, because I wasn't in judgment. I wasn't in fear. I wasn't in lack, as you stated earlier. I wasn't angry at people. I was just totally present, and people responded to that and bought things from me. But that goes true for anything.
Yeah.
In conversations with people and holding space for somebody who is in addiction or alcoholism. With all my customers, I found myself talking to them about my story, because everybody's touched by it in one way or another.
Yeah.
Right? Friends, neighbors, whatever. And so I think for me, what is really meaningful and powerful for me is explaining my story of how I turned it around. And maybe that gives that person a perspective shift to reinvigorate that conversation with their loved one. Because sometimes we just like, why aren't you getting it?
Yeah.
Why aren't you getting it? But we don't understand, or we don't take the time to understand.
Right. And give that grace. Right. And so to the point about the Bible, I ended up through that alpha group, ended up getting connected back into church. And what I realized personally from my personal spiritual journey was, in pulling away from the church, it disconnected me completely. And then I was very Jesus adverse, because I equated Jesus solely with Christianity. And so it took years to build that relationship with Jesus again. But I ended up going back to church, and I just kept my heart open. And for me, what I realized is going to church and being in the Christian space has helped me connect back with Jesus. So for me, that's been really key on my spiritual journey. But again, I don't think you need to be in the church or need to subscribe even to a specific religion. What I will say is just this past year, as I wrote this book, God really was telling me to open the Bible. And I have never read the Bible in my entire life, even when I was in church, didn't understand it. And I've heard the pastor at my church say often that the Bible is like the greatest love letter. And when he said that, I'm like, what does that even mean? The Bible makes no sense. Anytime I've ever even tried to open the Bible, it's like, I don't even understand what's happening, right? So he said that, and I just didn't get it till I started reading the Bible for myself. And what I have to do, and so for anybody out there who's newer to the Bible, I highly recommend it. I will go to the verse and I will copy the verse and I will put it in ChatGPT and I say, give me the context around this verse, the life application, and journal reflections. And it helps it break it down. It has been so powerful. And so when you said God speaks to you through people, what I have found is God speaks to me through the Bible, like so strongly now that I've actually started this practice with him. And but then it breaks it down for me. So then I actually understand it. And now I can tell you, a year into finally to reading the Bible for the first time, it is the greatest love letter of all time. And it's full of so much wisdom. And it is truly like the guide to life. Like, it is the guidebook, like everything in there. And I've listened to podcasts where there's people who have read all the spiritual texts, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, the Book of Ra, some more spiritual, read all of them and said that there is common themes throughout every single one of them.
Absolutely.
Be a good person, live a good life, be gracious, love one another. Like, they all say the similar things, right? And so anyway, yeah.
I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
We have started to do a little Bible study at the house.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I got to get a different version because I'm reading the thou art this. And
Oh,
I'm like,
gosh,
what in the world is this? I don't even, it's like you got to transfer that
You
into
must have the
today's
King
language.
James version. Yeah, you got to get, there's a book called The New Believers. There's a Bible called New Believers. That one's great. But put it into chat.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic idea. We actually have two ladies. Shout out to the two ladies that do the biblical podcast here at Live the Dream.
Oh, cool.
I believe it's every Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Blair and her co-host. So they dive deep into the Bible. You'd get along with them great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But I actually had that same experience. One of the spiritual awakenings I had was, so getting sober, it was like my world was flipped upside down. And it was like, okay, now what? I think that's a common theme, Mike. Now what? What is this really about? If my loved one passes away, if I almost die and I survive, if I have this life-shaking moment, now what? Like, what is really life about? And the veil had been lifted.
Yep.
So I started doing this, what Mike's on his journey, reading, watching, and the common themes, it was like, this is crazy. Even the AA book. I mean, if you've read the AA book, it's the same darn thing. I think the two guys that started it were, a little undercover the way they do the wording. They just want to bring people in.
Exactly.
To God of your understanding.
Yes.
But more will be revealed.
Right.
So I think if you can just be open, I think that's a great start.
Exactly. Yeah. For me personally, I feel like it all points back to the same thing. And even in my book, I share a friend who left the Mormon faith just because she didn't, there was a lot of struggles and she didn't resonate with a lot of things. And she's a medium. And so that also goes against, there's things in the Bible about that. Anyway, she was so surprised to find, into her journey of leaving the church and wanting nothing to do with Christ, same reasons, that Jesus was at the center of everything, even in her spiritual journey. So it's interesting. It's, but I very much believe that, like, you just keep your heart open and God will meet each of us where we're at, because that's what love does. So there's no right or wrong way.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was actually, there's a guy at my gym who I guess I semi-respect because I listened to his advice, but I was talking about my show and he goes, no, man, Jesus is the way. He's like, you just pray. Just ask Jesus to reveal himself to you. Okay. And this is in the fall when me and Mike were working pretty closely together. And so we had gone to a concert in Phoenix and my fiance goes, hey, there's this breathwork thing tomorrow. You should go to it. And again, when she's telling me to do stuff, like every time she's told me to do something, I go do it and it turns out to be amazing. Yeah. So I go to this event and this guy shows up and he freaking looks like Jesus. and he's Keith, I mean, he kind of, and he's very soft-spoken, very intelligent. He's a chiropractor. So his breathwork events are to get clients to it's a 12-step somatic breathwork event or practice that he can then enroll people into his network chiropractic and touch energy practice, right? Yeah. And so it was just a really crazy thing. They were supposed to see an event downtown. We thought the event space was locked. We didn't even bother to open the door because I guess the door was, kind of find out later, like the door was actually open. So me, him, and a third guy, a couple people they just leave. We go to the park. We have this amazing experience at Himmel Park. And I end up like bawling my eyes out. We like do this 3-man hug, and I'm like, "What am I doing? This isn't even me. Like, what's going on here?" So I ended up signing up for 3 months for his chiropractic work, and it's the gist of it is nervous system regulation.
Yes, I love. Breath work is wonderful.
Yeah, and which for me in your practice, we are so fight or flight all the time.
Absolutely,
our nervous system is on go 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 go. So stepping into this space, into coaching, into using my intuition to be able to help and serve people, I want to have that break put on. I want to be able to step back. Okay, God, what should I do here? In conversations with people, and maybe you'd agree with me, sometimes I'm like, where did that even come from? How did I know to say this to this person?
So true.
And I feel like that's God working through me.
100%.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Just being present.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing is people just you've got so much going on that you're not present. You're in your head, and just being able to have a timeout and breathe.
Yeah, our bodies were not designed to be in constant fight or flight, but we are. And so that's where the presence is, and mindfulness and meditation and breath work is really becoming popular, because it's helping bring people back to that present and get us back into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the break, getting us back into that rest state, that peace state. Right now, we're like constantly foot on the gas in the sympathetic, where we're in the fight or flight state. And so, yeah, I talk with clients about that all the time. Nervous system, we that could be a whole podcast in and of itself, nervous system regulation, because it's huge.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is we only have an hour, right? But I mean, there's multiple topics we could go off and just kind of...
Right? But then when we talk about like the root of some of these struggles that we face, I mean, there's so much. I want to say this. We are body, soul, and spirit. So our body is the physical vessel. Our body is motivated by pain and pleasure. It craves comfort. Our body craves comfort. Our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. And our soul craves rest. It's the producer, but it also needs to rest. And oftentimes, that's where all of our dysfunction and disruption comes from, is in the soul. When we disconnect from spirit, which is the being side of us. So the spirit is like our truth, intuition, Godhead, higher knowing, right? When we disconnect from that and we only live from soul and body, well, our soul is leading from the mind, will, and emotions, which is where our traumas, all the life experience, everything we've been through. And then it's sending signals to our body, which is like, okay, I just want to numb out because I want to be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And so when you disconnect spirit, that's where we see a lot of that dysfunction, disruption coming from, is when the soul is leading the body. We need spirit to lead. We need the higher knowing, intuition, truth to then impart onto soul, which then, no matter what happened in the soul, we can heal that with the spirit-led truth. Make sense? And so, yeah.
Absolutely.
Key to healing right there. But
There it
nervous
is.
system is mixed into the body and all of that. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Right?
I actually did a
Take a
breathwork
breath.
session in Austin Saturday.
Did you?
Sunday,
Oh,
excuse
fun.
me. So I'm actually getting certified in this breathwork technique. I'm signing up for it. I may go to Toronto for this guy's 2-day
really?
event and stuff. Yeah. It's really cool. His name's Gio. He worked at Rhythmia in Costa Rica for a while.
Wow.
And so he plays music to the music, or to the breathwork sessions, and the beat kind of matches your breath, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of... God is breath. God is, right? Think about how many times we're not breathing because we're in our heads thinking, and then you're like, gosh, I'm not even breathing properly. That's part of it. How can you have your intuition if you're
Exactly.
you're not even sucking oxygen at the moment?
You just got to unite, your heart, your mind, your brain, everything.
So he's cracking people wide open in this event. So what I really appreciate and love about it is it's guided. He's talking. And people are just exploding in the room in tears and letting out these like curling noises and stuff.
Yeah.
Because people are afraid to go to these inner places that we have hidden for decades sometimes, right?
Yes. Breathwork is the pathway back home. There's a shout out Jeremy Mudick. He's in Phoenix. He's got a place called Reconnect. He is the best breathwork person I've ever, but it sounds like you've been in contact with some amazing people, but he's an incredible breathwork teacher, and he hosts these classes where he does the music and guides people and like the emotional release that people have. I mean, it is incredible. Yeah.
It's going to be, I think, a big way for people who don't want to experience, because basically you can release DMT from your body using the breath work as well.
Yeah.
Without having to go into the jungle and do the ayahuasca and all this stuff.
Without having to do psychedelic healing.
Exactly. Which, I mean, everybody's on their own path and their own journey.
Sure.
You know?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the natural way to do it, right? Well, I guess you'd say that's natural too, but yes, without a substance, right?
So we're about to wrap up.
Yeah.
Is there why don't you tell the folks who are listening a way to get a hold of you, to get into the work that you're doing up in Phoenix? If people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Freedom Soul Soldier, also TikTok, Facebook, under Lindsay Taylor. So definitely social media. My website is soulsoldiernetwork.com. So you can go there to see kind of what my latest creations. The books are on Amazon, so you can find them there.
Show those books one more time.
Yep. These are on Amazon. Yep. And actually, the 100% of the profits for Plot Twist is going to get this book into prisoners' hands. So everything we make from this purchases books for the prison ministries,
Oh,
so that I can actually
it's
get
actually
them.
that camera.
Oh, this one. Okay, I'm talking to the wrong camera. So the profits will go to get these books in the hands of those in prison, which was very important for this book. You can do that, and then I am starting a community called Freedom Soul Soldier Community. But again, if you go to my website, my Instagram, if you're interested in looking into that community, you can check out all the stuff there.
Awesome.
Outstanding. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Guys, this has been incredible. Mike, thank you for being here.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you so much for making the trip
Yes,
down.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like we should fill your gas tank up for coming down with all the prices going on right now.
It's crazy. My car, like $5 a gallon. Like I'm like, my car's usually like 60-ish bucks to fill up, and it was $85.
Yeah.
What in the heck?
What do you drive, a truck?
No, a BMW X3.
Gotcha.
And actually, it's pretty decent on gas. My husband's car is the gas guzzler, but yeah, it was crazy. But it does take the 91.
Right.
Yeah, you got to put the good stuff in it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of BMWs, if you need to insure your BMW, please, what a segue, contact Mike Bader, State Farm Agency, First and River. What's your phone number, Mike?
520-878-0098.
And guys, if you're a business owner, if you're listening to the show, if you're struggling with alcohol, if it's got more control over you than you have over it, and you want to find out who you are on the other side of that, please reach out to me. You can schedule on my website as well. And thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.